back to Game Talk. I'm your host, David Meow. Today I'm joined by Connor.
Hey, guys.
And Mike.
Hello.
And it is the rare time where, once again, we have all been playing the same video game. And that happened once earlier this year with Zelda. It's going to happen again with Starfield. But today we're going to be talking about Baldur's Gate 3. So I guess just to kick things off, I think I have probably put the least amount of time between the three of us. That being said, I haven't been a slouch. I'm 29 hours deep into the game, still in Act 1 from what I gather. And I am
you get
really,
an achievement
really
when you enter
enjoying
Act 2.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely in Act 1. But yeah, so like overall I'm really enjoying this game. It's reminding me a lot of like the classic sort of RPGs that don't really get made too much anymore. And in particular, this game reminds me a lot of how I felt when I first played Dragon Age Origins, like in the 2000s or whenever it came out. Giving me a lot of the same vibes, same sort of like, you know, the RPG vibes where you can like play who you want, race-wise, class-wise. You can, and that'll impact your dialogue and your choices, and the things you do impact the world and the characters in meaningful ways, and you can form deep connections with your party mates, like talk to them at camp. Like all that was in Dragon Age, and I'm seeing that again in Baldur's Gate 3 in like a sort of evolved capacity. So I really enjoy that it's like evoking the RPGs of old, and it's a very sort of comforting game for me. But yeah, enough about me. How are you guys enjoying Baldur's Gate 3?
This is like my first CRPG, and I'm really liking it so far. It plays a lot like an immersive sim. Like that's the parts that I'm enjoying about it. Like every problem just has a million solutions, and
it's incredible in that way. And I mean, similar to another game we discussed on the show, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I really thought this year was going to be like during this Tears of the Kingdom episode. I remember thinking that like Game of the Year this year was an open and shut case, and it's like the past 3 games I've played have all been Game of the Year contenders. Like,
yeah, 2023 is just
Kingdom,
a monster of a year.
Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin 4, and then Baldur's Gate 3. And like recency bias maybe a little bit, but Baldur's Gate 3 is in the lead right now, and it's also just like such a meaty game.
How far are you into the game?
I'm into Act 2, and I think I am like at the boss of Act 2. I'm ready to beat it. Act 2 felt shorter than Act 3 to me, but
Than Act 1, you mean?
Yeah, than Act 1, yeah. Act 2 has been shorter, kind of. There's just so much optional content, and this is one of my main complaints with the game, is that like I have been able to talk my way out of situations or seen an ambush and avoid it or something. And that is the only incorrect way to play this game. Every combat you avoid is going to hurt you later. And that's actually been really frustrating for me. Oh, absolutely. I had to go back and kill everything I skipped because I was so severely underleveled. I was
I see what you mean.
2 levels too low for the boss at the end of Act 2, and I actually had to reload a save because I had made a bunch of quests incompletable. And from what I was looking online, I was 2 levels too low for it to be like a fair fight, and 1 level too low for it to really even feel possible. I was like level 5 or level 6, I forget, and you really need to be level 7.
Yeah, I'm still in Act 1, and I'm level 5, so I think I'm just gaining a lot more XP than you.
Yeah, see, I talked my way. I stealth killed a lot of the major enemies, which I think even that, like, if combat doesn't initiate, I think you get less EXP. And then I just saw, like, the writing on the wall. Like, there's a part where you visit a Githyanki creche, and I saw the writing on the wall that they were going to attack me, so I just left. Because why would I walk into an ambush? That I would never do that in D&D. I would leave, because that would be stupid. But you cannot do that in this game. You need that EXP. And it really feels balanced around 100%ing it, like completing every side quest you find and stuff before you move on to the next area. And
that is how I'm playing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it really feels like if you don't do that, you're playing wrong, which I don't love. That's my only major complaint. That and non-lethal damage is completely pointless.
You mean like knocking people out?
Yeah, the story considers them dead even if you
Yeah,
knock
I
them
saw
out.
that, which was frustrating to me because yeah, we'll get into it later, but I wanted to knock someone out because I knew that they were like a potential party member for later, but I just couldn't do it. So,
Yep, I had the same
um,
situation, so I ended up killing him. Yeah.
but before we get too deep into the game, Mike, what are your high level thoughts on the game? How long have you spent in the game?
According to Steam, I'm at 18 hours, but I left it running when I went to bed at one night, so probably like
Okay, so you've
9, 10
definitely
hours.
played less than me and Connor then. Okay.
Been busy.
What do you think?
It's hard. It's a hard game. The game's not afraid to pull
Are you
punches.
playing on the harder difficulty?
No, I'm playing on balanced.
Okay, me too.
Yeah, and the game's still
Same.
like...
And I have karmic dice on.
Yeah, I turned karmic dice off. So I've been having a different experience.
I left it on.
But
Sorry, what is
Yeah.
karmic dice? I didn't mess with the settings.
It's on by default, and it's a setting that like won't let you fail too many times in a row.
Yeah.
Basically, it weighs the dice rolls to feel better.
Oh, that's kind of lame. Yeah, I think I'd want that off.
yeah, I turned mine off.
Like I
left it on 'cause it
I
was
like it being
the
random.
default.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways,
I don't
yeah,
think
go
it'll
ahead.
let you succeed too many times in a row either.
Yeah, I don't think it will either.
I mean, I think I'd just prefer everything to be left up to chance with the dice rolls. But
Yeah,
maybe that's
I
just
left
me.
it on karmic just because that was what the developers had by default.
Right,
and
yeah.
I am one to stick to the vision.
So, Mike, you're still pretty early on in the game. It's fair to say, right?
Yeah. I'm fairly early.
Yeah, I remember like I don't know if you guys played Divinity Original Sin 2, which was Larian's like last game, but
This is my first CRPG.
okay, yeah. As soon as I left the I guess the intro area, like aboard the ship or whatever, and I got to the main area, it like I got insane Divinity 2 vibes, right? I was just like, okay, I'm sort of familiar with this, but it goes way deeper than Divinity 2. Like, it seems like seemingly almost everything is interwoven with the larger narrative, and like everything you do has some sort of impact. And if you, even in like some remote corner, you don't feel like checking, you check that, and that could unfold into like an entire like quest that could take you like an hour or more. It's just these sort of things just keep happening over and over again for me with this game. It just makes exploration such a joy in this game.
Like I wandered into Act 2, and I like I said, I was way under leveled, so I went back to Act 1. And my other beef with Act 1 is Act 1 tells you that you're on a time limit that's not real, like there's no actual time limit, but it kind of rushes you, which is why I was skipping stuff. But anyway, I went back to Act 1, that area around the crashed ship, and there was just like 10 or 20 hours of content I just walked past. Yeah, just like,
there's so much
entire
there. It's
areas wild. Like, and stuff that like there's really nothing pointing you to it. You really just have to explore. Like,
yeah,
and, there was stuff I didn't even know I could interact with that I wandered down into and had like significant amounts of content.
Yeah, and there's been instances too where like, because like like any good RPG, you're forced with consequential and difficult choices, which I really like. Like I would love to have my cake and eat it too, but like there have been times in this game where like, okay, I have to make this choice, and this choice will permanently shut this avenue off, and I just have to be okay with it because to me it's more preferable than the alternative. Like I mentioned, there's like a without getting into spoilers, you do have to make a choice sort of in Act 1 for one of like the later party members that you get, like which one you take, at least as far as I know. Like there might be a way to get both of them, like some really hidden like niche way to get both of them, but from what the game presents you have like a clear choice.
I'm talking about party members you're talking about.
I'm talking about Minthara and the druid Halsim.
Oh, I killed Halsin and I never ran into Minthara.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, yeah.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, so you could actually, Minthara is a potential party member, but she's like really, I don't know, she seemed like really evil
the
to
drow?
me. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I killed both of them, yeah.
You kill both of them? Dang.
Not
Okay.
on purpose. I killed Minthara on
Well, yeah.
purpose. Halsin,
Right.
I got
Yes,
myself
I
into a
understand how.
predicament. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand how. I don't want to get too deep into spoilers because of Mike, but
I mean,
yeah, that's so
No, I
interesting.
killed
And-
both of them.
Okay, Mike doesn't
yeah,
care about spoilers. Okay,
I've
that's
already
fine.
done most of Act 1. I just haven't gotten into Act 2 yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I've already
so,
I've
wow,
already
you've been
killed the Goblin Camp.
No,
Okay,
what sucks is
you've been-
Minthara apparently had
you've been going
she
kinda
had
quick.
items on her that I wanted, and I kicked her into a crevice.
Okay,
crevice,
so
like
before
a
yeah, before we go on, I think fair game spoilers are for Act 1 are fair game for the rest of the show. Let's just put it that way. Well, maybe not because I haven't finished Act 1, but at least as far as I am, which is I'm doing stuff in the Underdark.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
that actually is like the
Okay.
end of Act 1. I'm not technically there yet, but
Okay. And
well, you don't
once
have
again,
to go there at all.
yeah.
You can
You don't
can
have
not
to
go
go
to the Underdark.
So you, from what I understand, you have two choices. You could go through the Mountain Pass or the Underdark, and I happened to stumble upon the Underdark, and it definitely gave me like, oh, this is a really cool like underworld Elden Ring kind of vibe here,
Yeah.
and I really like the art and like the what's going
It's
on in the
beautiful.
Underdark. It's beautiful, and like what's happening there is very compelling. So I'm
Yeah,
really
the story
enjoying my
is very
time down
cool.
there. So
I was a little over leveled by the time I found the Underdark because I found it when I went back looking for things to do.
oh man. That's like a looking for things to do. That's like an additional like 10 plus hours of content, I feel like.
Yeah, I know.
That you just walk into.
And and it was nice. And there's a lot of really, and even though I was like by the time I got to the end, and this is the nice thing about D&D's level curve is that like each level is huge. By the time I got to the end of the Underdark, I was not over leveled anymore.
Yeah. And that's another
Like-
thing about this game, like, because I'm not as familiar with D&D as I think both of you are. I have played it in the past, but like it's not like a something I regularly engage in. But to me, like it really seems like they just took D&D and implemented it into the game with like the leveling and like the classes and everything.
Yeah, they did. It is 5th edition, like to a T. The
which
only
is
thing
really
that is
cool.
like a little,
yeah.
they had to like solidify some of the squishier parts of D&D, like some of the spells that are like more abstract that you can kind of make up what they do. It had to just like minor illusion can be whatever you want it to be in 5e.
Okay,
You can use
yeah.
it for all sorts of things, whereas in Baldur's Gate 3 it's a cat and it like does a very it's a cat and enemies, like it's like a hitman sort of technique where like the enemies will always come check out the cat.
Okay, I gotcha.
So that it has to do the same thing every time, whereas in 5e like I could use minor illusion to like make somebody think a pipe is leaking or something. I can do all kinds of things with it.
Yeah, but I just think like the degree to which they implemented D&D into the game and that it just totally works, like both speaks to the strengths of D&D and to the talent of the developers to translate that so beautifully to a video game. Because like I was watching, just out of like for fun, I was watching like some D&D YouTubers like Theorycraft classes, and every single one they mentioned was totally doable in Baldur's Gate 3, which was really neat to see.
No, the only thing, it's actually interesting the differences between Baldur's Gate and like my D&D experiences, because like D&D tends to be goofier for me, whereas Baldur's Gate is like played pretty straight and more dramatic. I mean, it has some silly moments.
Yeah, it can be kind of silly too, and I really enjoy like the levity of it a lot of the time. That really, but again, it adds to its like addictive quality.
There's stuff you can do in Baldur's Gate though that I would never do at a D&D table, like the romance aspect of it and things.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I hate that as a dungeon master. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Like,
this is
but in Baldur's Gate, like it's a huge part of the game.
It's a huge part of the game. This is the horniest game I've ever played by far.
Oh, and
like
insanely.
It's insane. Yeah.
It feels uncompromised in any way on that sort of thing. Like there's nothing that they don't want to do. Like they had a vision and they completed it fully. Like they didn't remove anything.
Yeah, like their decision for marketing to show off the bear sex scene was that was a gamble, honestly, and it paid off.
And also, I kind of a side here, but like trying to explain to someone who doesn't know video games why Baldur's Gate 3 went viral in terms of a bear sex scene is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And you just sort of
it
get
is.
looked at as a weirdo. I've learned this from firsthand experience now. But yeah, I don't know. Like the romance is like, I don't know. I think it's it reminded me again of games like Mass Effect and Dragon Age, where like basically they don't, like, well, those games have certain characters that are like gay, straight, or whatever. But like this game, you can romance anyone, and I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So if you like a character, that you can get them to like you.
Yeah.
Before we go into the companions, and I do want to talk about the companions because I know, Connor, you've missed some very key companions that I now realize after playing the game. Let's talk about our characters, right? So I am a Mephistopheles tiefling. I am a warlock sorcerer fighter hybrid. And
you multi-classed 3 different ways.
Jesus.
I found this build. I found this D&D build that I really liked, and I wanted to try it out.
Okay.
So, but I'm having a lot of fun. I feel very powerful.
So you're copying a build from some that you found
I
online.
am, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say because multi-classing on your first time, like, I mean, I know you played once, but like, your second time, I guess,
like I wouldn't have any idea what to do by myself.
Thing to do.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, like it's just D&D, right? So the sheer depth of like build potential is it's essentially infinite. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I'm a Mephistopheles I can't even say it. Mephistopheles tiefling, multi-classing across those 3 classes. What else? What other distinguishing information do I have? I don't know. I guess that's about it, right? There was this one really interesting part in the game where I don't know if you guys rescued like that bard or whatever, like the really annoying one that got captured by the
Volo,
goblin.
yeah.
I had him. He claimed he could perform like an operation on me to remove the tadpole, and I just straight up let him do it, and it yeah. Go ahead.
I had him do it to Karlak.
Oh, no way. You could have him do it to other people? That's crazy.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure. I thought they might die, and I didn't like Karlak that much yet.
Yeah.
In retrospect, I was wrong. Karlak is the best. But at the time, she was new to the party.
Right.
And kind of seemed dangerous to have around. So I was like, yeah, she dies, she dies.
No, I did it myself, and like the amount of times the game like throws up flags like you can stop this, made me think like something really bad was gonna happen, but I was already like fully committed. So yeah, like I lost my eye or whatever, and it got replaced with a magic eye that can like see invisible things. So I guess it's not all that bad, but.
What I really liked about that scene is I felt very in character because Karlak has like the infernal engine heart and everything. And I was like, yes, she wouldn't tell him to stop. Like she's used to this. She's done it before.
So how did that scene go? Did she like complain or did she just take it or?
Well, you play as her through it.
Oh,
and
okay,
you just,
okay.
It's the exact same scene, I think. But it just made more, because my character, like, in my head never would have like made it through that. But in my head, she would have probably.
Yeah, so I described like my character's traits. How I play the game, I try to be like heroic when I can, but like if someone like wrongs me or like rubs me the wrong way, I will just massacre like them and everyone around them. Like I'm not afraid to do that. So I'm nice unless I'm messed with, I guess is a way to put it. And like I do have like certain abilities where like, because I finally took my first level of like sorcerer, and you could like subclass into like the hurricane sorcerer or whatever. So I can like cast magic and like fly everywhere and also teleport because of my warlock abilities. I'm very mobile, and it's a lot of fun playing that way. So I can like I can do close quarters combat because of my fighter stuff, or just cast spells or warlock abilities ranged due to my warlock sorcerer hybrid. So I basically play all of like the I play both melee and magic, close and far ranged, so it's very diverse, and I enjoy the play style a lot. Connor, what about your character?
I am a half-elf sorcerer, which is pretty basic, chaos magic, and I because his sorcerers get their magic from charisma, I made him a charlatan, so I'm kind of playing like a douchebag. Like he'll lie and he'll steal and stuff, but he stops short of killing. He doesn't like letting people die.
I see.
I've been like I saved the grove. I saved the grove. I've been stealing and lying every chance I get. And having somebody that can talk their way out of stuff, like a high charisma stat, really comes in handy in this game.
Yep.
There's a lot
I forgot to mention
stuff
but
that you can just
charisma is my highest stat, and I do persuasion, intimidation all the time. And actually, like my build is synergized to where like I can use hex, and that scales off of charisma, and so does my Eldritch Blast. So like my warlock spells become really powerful because they're scaling with charisma, which is my highest stat. So yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, and my main party has been like me, Karlach, Gale, the wizard. Karlach's a barbarian, and Shadowheart, the cleric.
Yeah, so it's tough because I do like rotating people. So I do play with a lot of different combinations, but I would say my main one is Shadowheart, Lae'zel, and Astarion.
I didn't have Astarion for the longest time because
you finally got him. Okay, I thought you just totally
missed
him.
I went back and got him because he's such a fan favorite. He tries to stab.
Yeah, I told you before that like when I was like an hour or two in the game, I wasn't very impressed with him. Totally wrong. He's probably the best character in the game. He's so much fun. Yeah, he's great.
He tries to attack you when you first meet him, and then he asks to join me, and I was like, no. Why would I let you? Why would I let you roll with me? You're not nice.
Just wants in my game. He just wants to bang me like all the time.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's how Gale is for me.
Okay, yeah. Anything else about your character? So you said he was a half elf, half human?
I mean, it's just half elf. I think it's assumed
half
the
elf.
other half is human.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorcerer. Okay, cool. What about you, Mike?
I'm actually I'm a half elf fighter.
Okay.
Yeah, I really want.
That's a little more interesting. People
don't. But yeah, I feeded I think into polearm mastery, so I'm just running around using a spear.
That's cool.
Nice.
It comes in handy a lot.
So one thing I will say, you guys should swap out your parties. You should swap out your parties based on the area you're in, because they'll have stuff to say like all the time. Like,
I tried to intelligently
you should have Shadowheart.
Swap. Yeah, I try to be mindful of that, and it does get kind of tedious going back and forth from camp, like swapping people out. But I do want to.
I wish you could
maximize
just,
like
with
the
a menu.
Yeah. Who do you usually keep in your party, Mike?
I'm a Shadowheart, Gale, and Astarion right now.
Okay, yeah, that's a good
I don't
squad.
have Lae'zel. Lae'zel's currently dead on the ground.
Oh, no way.
So
she died in your game?
No, she never made it to my party, so she just kind of ran to some Gith and they killed her.
Oh, dang. Yeah,
I might be able to resurrect her. I'm not sure, though.
Lae'zel's great. I like her a lot, too. So, okay, have we all dealt with the Grove?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yes.
There's like a lot of different ways that can go from what I understand. So for me, what I ended up doing, so I didn't raid the goblin camp. I went through and talked to all the goblins. They like let me through their camp, right?
Yeah.
And I found the druid there, and he was just like, you need to kill all the goblins. And I was just like, I don't know if I want to do that. But what eventually ended up happening was Minthara led the goblins on a raid onto the Grove, and I ended up defending it in a sort of like, it was a sort of, I was like, we were high up on the wall, so it was like a siege kind of thing. They came over to the wall, and it was like kind of like an epic battle, because we were on top of the wall, so we could like fling stuff down there, and they were trying to like barge through the gates and stuff. It was really cool.
That's the kind of EXP that I missed out on.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of XP.
I mean, I just kind of killed all the goblins
in the camp.
Well, I became friends with the goblins, and then I rolled through, met the druid, and then I'm like, okay, time to kill all the goblins.
Okay, so you went down that route.
I talked my way into the camp, and I went in, and there were like some goblins prodding a bear in there, and I was like, that bear's probably the druid, right? And I didn't do anything, because I didn't want to blow my cover. And then the bear like broke out of the cage and started mauling the kid. And then like the guards started attacking the bear, and the guards were technically on my side, but I was like, oh no, I have to make a call here. And so I killed all the guards, And then the bear started attacking me, and I was like, what? And so you
I
killed a
killed
bear, and
all
that
the
takes him out of
guards.
beast shape.
I killed all the guards and all the kids in that room, and I didn't feel great about it, but I did what I had to do.
Well, when you get him out
for
of
the
beast shape,
common cause.
he was still attacking me, and I ended up having to use non-lethal to knock him out, and then it didn't matter. Like the quest said he was dead.
That's lame.
All the dialogue acted his body's not even there. So there's like an incompletable quest for me now because I was supposed to get something off of his body. I think if you kill him, like for his research.
Oh, okay.
And I just can't do it now because there's nothing there.
So how did you deal with
he's not dead.
So Halcyon aside, how did you deal with the Grove situation?
I pushed. Okay, so I let the cleric offered to take the worm out of my head.
The cleric in the goblin camp?
Yeah, she tried to cure me.
This happened to me too, yeah.
But when she tried to do it, I think it was Raphael, one of his minions, killed her for me.
Yeah.
And that was cool. And then Minthara, there's a cliff right next to her, and I kicked her into it. So she was dead. I had to kill one guard to do that.
See, okay, so I do love that you can just push people off cliffs and kill them, but I don't want to do that too often if it's like a chasm because I do want to loot them, you know?
Yeah. And then what was the big red guy? Zor Raglan, maybe?
That sounds right.
Him I snuck up. I lured him up the ladder onto the rafters, and I kicked him off the rafters, and I think I did that twice, and he died.
Okay.
And then the whole camp aggroed me, but I was able to kite, or not the whole camp, but a decent number of goblins aggroed me after that, and I was able to kite them and kick them off the rafters. It was kind of really easy.
Okay, so you both dealt, just massacred everyone in the camp, basically.
No, only a few. The camp, I just went back and massacred the camp to get the EXP today because there were so many goblins left.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that. I do want to keep a roleplay element in my head. Now that I'm done with that area, I don't want to go back and just massacre all of them. But they are goblins that kill other people, so I don't know. Maybe
Dude,
it's fair.
I had to. The boss I'm up against right now is impossible, so I had to do it.
Dang, okay.
Well, okay, so I got myself into that predicament. There's another part in Act 2 where something happens, and I got attacked, and I was not strong enough to defend the people that were with me there, and they all died. And now, normally they, I think, would have helped me with this boss, but they're all dead now, so I have to fight the boss by myself because I was too weak then.
That's
I would
crazy.
have to go back 20 hours of gameplay to get to save scum to get them back. The game really when the game tells you you're not strong enough to go into Act 2, there's an area where it'll tell you that. You should listen.
Yeah, I got told that when I
it's that
looked at the
gift
mountain
party,
pass.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Lazelle's currently dead.
I mean, it told me that, but I thought I had done I was looking around and I just couldn't find anything else to do, so I kept going. And it didn't give me the message the second time, so I figured I was good. And no.
Wow. Okay.
No, and that's actually been very frustrating because a lot of quests are incompletable for me now because those NPCs were a part of it.
That sucks.
And I knew that it was possible. Even at my current level, it was possible. It was just extremely difficult, and I would have had to have save scummed. And I didn't want to do that.
Save scum.
This was my story.
Obviously, play this game however you want, but I think this game shines when you just roll with the punches. Let things unfold.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't have as graceful a failure as real D&D has, though. Obviously, there's not a real DM sitting there making the calls and making it fun to lose. But it is mostly I'm not. I didn't save. I knew I could have saved scum to save Halcyon, and I didn't. That was an interesting part of my story that I wasn't able to save him for the most part. I wish knocking him out had worked.
I will confess, I usually don't save scum. I did save scum to save Halcyon. I was just I'm not going to miss out on an entire party member,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So you guys dealt with the Grove differently than I did. Because like when I knew I had the option of killing everyone in the camp, but I think like my character was thinking something like I could kill her here, or I could lure her to the grove and like be fortified there or something. And
have help.
Yeah, that option sounded more appealing to me, and that I do like that I did that because it did turn into like a mini sort of like climactic war sort of thing. Obviously, it's probably just a taste of things that happen later in the game. But I'm curious, Connor, now that you're in Act 2, have threads from Act 1 popped up in Act 2 yet? Like side quests and stuff that you completed? Or not?
Definitely the companion quests have like
okay.
There's a lot of stuff for Shadowheart in Act 2 that's been really neat. There's been some stuff for Lae'zel that's been cool. Actually, some stuff for Gale that's been very cool. And unfortunately, no more stuff for Karlach because I think I have ended that quest.
Oh no! Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I can help her anymore with her whole deal.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like the companion quests. Like they really like they do a good job of like character development and like weaving their stories in and out of yours and stuff like that.
But side quest wise, no, I don't think any of the non-companion side quests are just over.
I was just going to say, like, I don't know, like, how many side quests you all did in Act 1, but, like, most of the ones I did, everyone was just like, we're going to meet you in Baldur's Gate. We're going to meet you in Baldur's Gate, right?
And that's Act 3.
So I assume all that stuff comes back in Baldur's Gate. So I was just curious as to see if, like, anything actually came back in Act 2, but I imagine, like, all these threads will continue into Act 3, where Baldur's Gate actually, which takes place in Baldur's Gate.
I have a feeling like the game is going to be, like, the game feels big now. I feel like once you get to Baldur's Gate, it's going to feel huge.
Oh, yeah. And I have seen some stuff online where, like, the performance just absolutely tanks once you get to Baldur's Gate.
That's something I'll say. I really thought, I'm at the beach right now, and I thought I was going to be able to play this on my Steam Deck. But I hear Act 3 is unplayable, but Act 2... it's like you're lucky to get like 25 frames per second on Steam Deck.
Sucks.
This game should not have been called Steam Deck verified at all. Like the intro area runs great. I was getting like 40 frames per second or something. I turned it down to 30 just for the stability. But and that was all of Act 1. I was getting that. But Act 2, and I can't even imagine what Act 3 is like. It's not playable really. That's not true. It's playable, but it's just not pleasant.
Yeah, Act 3 is like a serious performance hit, which I'm sort of dreading because like I have a pretty good GPU, but my CPU is, I think, pretty like mid-range. So, and it seems like Baldur's Gate is really CPU bound because there's just so many NPCs and like people moving about and like doing different things. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I mean, where it's turn-based, as long as I'm getting like 30 to 40 on my PC, I don't care that much where it's turn-based. It's just the Steam Deck's
fair, but like after optimizing a couple settings and leaving pretty much everything except like one or two things on like the highest setting, I'm getting like anywhere from 70 to like 100 plus frames at all time, and it feels great. Even though, I mean, like you said, for a game like this, it's not really needed, but it feels great.
On my PC, I've been playing. I haven't been playing at 4K. I've been playing at 1440 ultra wide, and
nice. Yeah,
it's the frame rates have been high enough. I haven't noticed, so they're well over 100. I really, and it's max settings. So, and we're getting FSR2 in an update soon, which might make it playable on the Steam Deck. Even that'll be huge.
Okay, yeah, I'm using DLSS quality mode, and it looks fantastic and it runs great.
Yeah. FSR1 is terrible in this game, by the way. It's like super hazy.
I mean, FSR1 just in general sucks from what I hear.
Yeah, but it's particularly bad in this game. It's worse than normal.
And I just want to say from a personal perspective, this is the first real, I feel like, I don't want to say real game, but like this is the first big game that I've played on my PC. Like I've played, a couple indie games. I've played plenty of strategy games like Civilization, Crusader Kings, on my like, I don't want to say new PC, but like, to me it's kind of new because I never really used it before. But like Baldur's Gate 3 is like the first game where I'm just like, this is like, I'm all in, like just sitting at my PC for hours and hours at a time.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it feels pretty great.
Have you played it with a controller at all?
No, I've only used
ironically,
keyboard
it
and
has
mouse.
really good controller controls. Ironically, I've been pretty split.
Yeah,
Probably like 75-25 keyboard and mouse to controller.
I just can't imagine like a controller would be better than a keyboard and mouse for a game like this particularly.
It's really nice for the walking around because it just turns it into a third person game. Like with
Oh
it's not
yeah,
a point and
that
click
would
anymore.
be nice. Yeah.
And so I know some people that are playing it like they keyboard and mouse it until they get into combat, and then they controller until they get into combat, and then they switch to their keyboard and mouse. And you can do
Yeah.
that. I haven't been. I think I prefer the keyboard and mouse, but like there have been times where I've just been tired at the end of the day, and like it's easier to pick up a controller than sit at a desk. And I've just put it on the TV and just enjoyed the visuals and stuff. And it kind of influences what I choose to do too. Like I'll do more exploration on my controller, and then like when I know there's combat ahead, I'd rather do that when I'm sitting at my desk.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I definitely went through, and you guys are probably familiar with this, playing on PC most of your lives, but like, for the first like few hours of this game, I was just constantly pausing, going into the settings, tweaking things, trying to find the best combination of things.
Yeah.
It was so annoying. I was just like, I just want to play this game, but I just can't do it until I figure
No,
out like
you get over that eventually.
Yeah.
Well, some people do.
the optimal. Yeah. So, but like I settled on something I really liked, and then everything ran buttery smooth, and it's been great ever since. But like I was just like, like this is what it's like.
I'm kind of surprised you got this on PC though, because it's out on PS5 in like a couple days.
It's out in a couple days, but like you gotta rewind like to when this game finally came out, right? It has like a 97 on Metacritic, right? Like this is
it's like the highest rated PC game of all time.
A 97 is in the conversation of greatest of all time. It just simply is. You know, games do not get that score, especially in like 2023.
No,
I
this
saw
game
that.
deserves it too.
I saw that and I was just like, I have to play this game. Like, you know, like it's just too. At a certain point, something is so quality you can't ignore it, and Baldur's Gate 3 is that.
It's one of those games. Like, how many games have you played that are like hundreds of hours long? Potentially, I guess I don't really know how long it is, but I've heard over 100 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm already thinking like next time I play, I'm going to do this.
That's the crazy thing. Like, not only is it like 100+ hours, it's extremely replayable. Like, you could conceivably play this game forever. You know, like just because there's the sheer.
Like, if it gets a little optimization, it's like the perfect Steam Deck game. That's what's so frustrating about it.
I still think like I feel like there's room on the like they can figure it out. Like I don't think they're hitting some threshold. I think they just need to optimize the game a little more. And especially because like I hear that like the later into the acts you go, the more bugs pop up. So clearly Act 1 is the most polished because it was in early access for like years, right? But like maybe Act 2 and Act 3 need a little more time in the oven to be what they need to be. But like even with that said, like, and granted I'm still in Act 1, but like the experience so far for me has been absolutely sublime. Like I said, it's just brought me back to playing Dragon Age Origins as a kid, and like really that was my first exposure to a Western RPG like that, like in the CRPG sort of world. And this is just bringing me back to that as like a better version of that. So yeah, I'm just like I mean like after we finish this show today, I'm gonna keep playing. Yeah,
I bounced off of that game really hard.
Yeah, did you play it when it came out?
No, I was much later, and I judged it somewhat unfairly. Like I played through the beginning, and when I didn't even really give it a chance to prove me wrong. When I saw the character creation and I saw how many options there were, I was like, oh, there's no way the game respects all these options, and I just turned it off. Never played it again.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like when I saw like all the different backgrounds you could have, and all the different.
The game does take that into account. Like it's very much like
Baldur's Gate. I just assumed it wouldn't, and I turned it off.
No. Like it was a very special game. Like Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition pale in comparison to Dragon Age Origins. Origins was a very special game.
Yeah, I might give it another chance sometime.
But here's the thing, really dude, after you play Baldur's Gate 3, it's going to be very hard to go back to Dragon Age Origins. So it's just like you're playing the superior version of that game, basically. You know, like that has years of like, yeah, exactly, right? Like Baldur's Gate 3 is the new benchmark for that kind of game.
Also, have you guys played multiplayer at all?
No, I kind of wanted to, but like, you know, schedules didn't work out, and I was just like, I'm just gonna play this solo because, you know, It's fantastic.
Yeah, the
that way,
whole
too.
game has either online co-op or split screen.
That's
and
nuts.
like I will definitely be doing a multiplayer playthrough of this
Oh, yeah,
game. Now
could you
I do
imagine
hear
how
there's
fun
some
it'd be?
weirdness, like you can't, like, once somebody joins your party for multi, it doesn't do drop in, drop out. Like, once somebody plays with you, that person is in your party permanently, which is kind of terrible, but still neat, I guess, like, that you can do it.
Yeah. I guess there's just so much for the game to like keep track of in terms of like world state and like NPC state that like they're just like, once someone's
Yeah.
part of your party, they're part of your party, I guess.
But they can
like-
join whenever. That's the weird part.
Yeah, that is kind of
Yeah.
weird. But the thing for me is like even if you play with like other people, like a party of 4, like the your companions in this game are so good, like, and I feel like you won't really get to know them or like use
You can
them
do
or
origin characters.
experience their stories as much as if you were playing solo. You could do origin characters, but like I don't know, like it's just these companions are gonna go down in history as some of the classic RPG companions. Like they just are, like.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no, I mean, how often do I remember all the companions' names? I think the last time that happened was Final Fantasy 15.
Exactly, like they're all iconic. Like obviously some are more fleshed out than others, but they're all iconic. Like they're up there with like Garrus from Mass Effect, and like like Alistair from Dragon Age or whatever.
I think all of these characters, like by the end of the game, are equally fleshed out. Because even going into Act 2, like everyone has had their moment. Everyone like.
Okay, that's
two
cool.
different characters have had like an entire dungeon dedicated to their story almost.
That's really cool to hear because like right now, like certain characters, like obviously like Shadowheart and like Lae'zel and even Gale have had a lot of development for me, but like Karlach hasn't really done much. I just need to like find some iron for her or something. And like,
have you found Will?
Yeah, Will hasn't really done well. I guess that's not true. He's done some stuff, like he got turned into a demon or whatever, and we got to figure that out. But yeah, I mean, like all the characters are really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, how did the Will Karlach thing resolve in your game? Like, did he like? Did you like kill him when he tried to kill her? Or, like, did you get him to?
No, I just told him to chill out. I just told him to calm down, and I ended up fine.
What'd you say, Mike?
He's a demon in my game.
Yeah, is he
chill out?
I thought I thought that was just part of his story. Can he like not be a demon?
No, if you
I
kill
think
Karlach,
if he kills Karlach,
fine.
Oh, right, because that was like the deal he made. Right. Yeah, but Karlach's great. You don't want him to kill Karlach.
No, I would never kill Karlach. Although I think she is likely doomed to die eventually in my game now anyway.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do your side quests before people die.
Yeah, I've just been, I mean, this game is really congruous with the way I play most games, where, like, I know you don't do this, Connor, but, like, I really tend to do everything before the main quest. So, I've been sort of rewarded for that in this game.
Like, I think Armored Core came out today, like...
Armored Core comes out in a couple days. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing, right? Armored Core is in a couple days. Starfield is in, like, a week and a half. Like, what are we going to do?
There's so many games that are coming out that I want to play.
And I assume both of you,
like, I don't have time for this.
Are both of you playing Armored Core and Starfield?
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah.
All right, so that's 2 episodes locked in there.
I might play Armored Core. Armored Core, I don't know. I don't know why I'm going to blow like $130, $40
yeah,
on games.
I know, but like if there was ever a time to do it, this is it. Like this year has just been nuts. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you'd be a fool to not consider it among the greatest of all time, if not at the top.
I think
feel like at this point,
I think it is at the top right now. It's actually insane.
It's too good, and like obviously impressions for Starfield, like the reviews haven't dropped yet, but the vibe I'm getting is that it's another like 90+ Metacritic game.
And did you say they got Jeff Keighley again?
Well, everything gets Jeff Keighley. So
no, but like Jeff Keighley was doing a presentation today on Starfield, and somebody came up on stage and made another Bill Clinton joke.
Oh wait, what? I have no idea what you're talking
different
about.
guy this time, and it was even less funny and more annoying. And Jeff Keighley just started saying, "I'm really disappointed that this happened."
Oh, you mean like that weird kid who like interrupted him?
Yeah,
during the Game Awards,
today?
or whatever they did that.
Yeah, another person did that today. Yeah.
Okay, so this guy was just copying the first kid, right?
Yes, and he was even less funny.
That's so cringy, man. Like, that's so weird.
Yeah, and Jeff was just like, this was a really big night for a lot of developers. I'm very disappointed that this is happening again. And I just like get
it
some
happened
security.
again?
Like,
that's crazy.
yeah, Jeff needs to have like snipers, like sniper towers around that stage.
That's crazy.
Teach him a lesson.
Oh, man. Baldur's Gate is great. It's potentially the game of the year.
Good.
Like, the game of the year discussion this year is going to be heated, I think.
I don't think I've ever had three contenders so close for game of the year.
I mean, there's potentially going to be like one or two more here in a couple
I know,
weeks.
Could be five. So it could be
yeah.
5 contenders. Because Armored Core almost certainly will be up there for me. I don't see Starfield making the cut, but I'm going to give it every chance. And I didn't see Baldur's Gate making the cut either.
The stars seem to be aligning for Starfield. It seems to me, like, obviously we don't know yet because we don't know yet, but it seems to be from like early impressions that Bethesda really did it, which is wild. So
it is wild to me though. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be the greatest game that I never finish. I do not see myself ever rolling credits on this game. It is too long.
Yeah,
I think
and there's just other stuff to do. I don't see myself.
I want to finish.
I've had an amazing time with it, but
yeah, it is like so huge, and especially on the precipice of like 2 huge games coming out, imminently. It's gonna be tough, but like, yeah, I really want to finish it, but we'll see how that goes. Because like, not only are we getting Starfield and Armored Core, a little bit later we're getting Spider-Man, which I'm gonna be all over.
I won't get to play that.
We're also getting like that new Assassin's Creed, which looks increasingly better all the time.
Nah, that's a nothing burger. But we got Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Oh, that too, yeah. But the Assassin's Creed is like the old style of games, which I'm all about.
Yeah, well, that's even worse.
You think so? You prefer
I'm just being a hater.
Oh, okay.
I don't care about Assassin's Creed. Right. I liked Brotherhood and I liked Black Flag, but I'm not going to play the new one. I'm just going to be a hater on the podcast for content.
That's fair. Yeah, Super Mario Bros. Wonder as well. Like, there's just too much. It's way too much. And it's crazy. But for now, until all that stuff happens, I'm going to be playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Literally, like... It's been a rough week for game release, or a rough year.
For AAA rough year for your wallet, you mean?
And my wallet, but mostly AAA games.
But I also want to highlight,
I guess,
how crazy is it that Baldur's Gate 3, of all things, went viral? This game like went viral, I feel like, in the same way Elden Ring did, where it's like a very hardcore game, but like everyone's talking about it, everyone's playing it, like it's somehow... I feel like this game somehow broke some sort of mainstream barrier. And was it the bear sex scene? Like, was that it? Was that the reason? Like, it might have been. But like, yeah, however they did it, they made Baldur's Gate 3 potentially like the nerdiest possible video game on the planet, like a mainstream phenomenon, which is just wild. All right. Any last thoughts on Baldur's Gate?
I think I've said my piece.
Yeah, we've all said our pieces. If you haven't played it, go play it. It is one of the greatest of all time. Definitely in that conversation. Certainly in the RPG space. So, man, all right. I'm going to go play some more now. So,
I'm going to continue playing Baldur's Gate.
So, thank you all for listening. You can follow us at Podcast Game Talk on Twitter. Click the link in the description of our podcast to join our Discord and talk to us there. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
See you next week, where we probably talk about Armored Core. Bye.